For nearly 3 decades, Ernie Haase stood as an unshakable pillar in gospel music. His voice carried hope into living rooms across the nation. His songs stitched faith into the lives of people searching for comfort in dark moments. To the world, Ernie Haase was more than a singer. He was a sanctuary, a constant, a man whose calm presence felt almost supernatural. Fans didn't just admire him. They trusted him. He sang about peace, about endurance, about faith that holds firm when everything else collapses. And because of that, people believed his life must reflect the same perfection his music promised. His smile never wavered. His words were always steady. His message never cracked. But behind every composed appearance, behind every flawless performance, existed a private world few were ever allowed to see. And for 61 years, his wife watched that world quietly from the shadows. She never spoke, never explained, never defended what she knew to be true, until now. The whispers didn't begin with scandal. They never do. They began with questions disguised as concern. How was Ernie's health? Why hadn't his wife been seen recently? Why did they seem distant at that last event? On their own, the questions seemed harmless. But when repeated, reshaped, and shared, they became something else entirely. Social media did what it does best. It filled the silence. A missed smile became evidence of depression. Separate travel schedules became proof of separation. A private woman became a mysterious absence. Fan forums turned observations into theories. Theories into narratives. Narratives into truth. And with every comment and share, the story grew further away from reality. What made it worse was the silence. In an era where celebrities rush to explain themselves online, where public figures issue statements before rumors even settle, Ernie Haase and his wife did something almost unthinkable. They said nothing. Not a word. To a culture addicted to instant answers, silence felt like confirmation. But to understand that silence, you have to understand Ernie Haase. His career was never about fame. From the beginning, it was about service. About reaching people at their lowest points and offering something steady to hold on to. His voice didn't feel powerful because it was loud. It felt powerful because it was sincere. Ernie didn't chase controversy. He didn't exploit his platform. He showed up, sang with conviction, offered encouragement, and went home. His reputation remained spotless not because life was easy, but because he was disciplined about what he allowed the public to see. What the public didn't see were the costs. The long tours. The months away from home. The emotional exhaustion of always being the strong one. The pressure to carry hope for others when your own strength is fading. The quiet hotel rooms. The long drives. The silence after applause fades. That's where Ernie's real battles were fought. And beside him stood his wife. Steady, unseen, uncelebrated it. Her strength was never loud. It wasn't designed for applause. It existed in consistency, in patience, in choosing support over recognition. But when people couldn't see her, they imagined her. They mistook privacy for secrecy, quiet for weakness, distance for damage. And over time, those assumptions hardened into belief. Still, she stayed silent. Not because she was powerless, but because she believed some things were sacred. Some truths didn't need defending. Some lives didn't require public explanation. Their faith taught them restraint in a world demanding reaction. But silence has weight. And after years of watching strangers rewrite her life, after seeing speculation speak louder than truth, that silence began to feel heavy. That's when she made a decision. Not to defend. Not to accuse, but to clarify. And what she revealed would challenge everything people thought they knew about faith, marriage, and strength. Her decision to speak didn't come from anger. It came from reflection. At 61, perspective changes. Priorities shift. She realized that silence was no longer protecting truth. It was allowing falsehoods to multiply. Speaking wasn't about validation. It was about balance. About letting reality exist alongside rumor. When she finally spoke, there was no drama. No tears for the camera. No carefully staged vulnerability. just clarity. She explained something many didn't want to hear. Marriage is hard, especially when lived under constant scrutiny. Distance doesn't always mean disconnection. Exhaustion doesn't equal collapse. Long-term commitment isn't a performance. It's endurance. There was no scandal, no secret separation, no hidden betrayal. What existed instead was a real marriage between two imperfect people navigating extraordinary pressure. Years of travel, emotional fatigue, moments where there was little left to give. Not failure, but life. She acknowledged the distance people noticed, but reframed it honestly. Not emotional abandonment, but the reality of demanding schedules. Not secrecy, but protection. They chose not to invite strangers into spaces meant only for trust and healing. Her tone was calm, measured, unapologetic. And that calm carried more power than outrage ever could. The public response was mixed. Many supporters felt relief. Others admitted the silence had led them to assume the worst. Some critics remained unchanged. Proof that drama will always be more attractive than truth to certain audiences. But she wasn't trying to convince everyone. She spoke once, truthfully, and stepped back. This moment exposed something deeper about modern culture. We've decided that public figures owe us access to their private pain. That silence equals guilt. That privacy is avoidance. But not every chapter is meant for public consumption. Rumors don't need evidence to spread. They need repetition. And once they gain momentum, truth becomes optional. What Ernie Haase and his wife demonstrated was restraint in an age of excess. Dignity in a culture that rewards outrage. Strength that doesn't announce itself. Faith played a quiet but powerful role in their choices. Not performative faith, but endurance-based faith. The kind that teaches patience over reaction, reflection over retaliation, prayer over explanation. Faith didn't shield them from rumors. It guided how they responded to them. When her words entered the public record, they didn't rewrite history. They completed it. They added depth where speculation had flattened reality. They reminded people that strong marriages aren't flawless. They're resilient. This story also forces a reevaluation of how we view women who choose the background. Ernie's wife wasn't invisible because she was insignificant. She was invisible because she valued peace over spotlight, support over applause. Her strength didn't require validation. And when her voice was finally heard, it wasn't a roar demanding attention. It was a steady presence offering understanding. In the end, the truth wasn't shocking. It was human. A long marriage tested by real challenges. A life lived with integrity. Silence chosen not out of fear, but conviction. And a moment of clarity offered not to satisfy curiosity, but to restore balance. As Ernie Haase continues forward, his legacy remains defined by consistency, not controversy. And beside him stands a woman whose strength was always real, even when unseen. Sometimes the loudest truths are whispered, and sometimes that's enough.